World leaders continue to unite and stand firm against Donald Trump. Of course, you got the powerful president of Mexico, President Claudia Sheinbaum, who's hugely popular in Mexico. Here she talks about Donald Trump's stupid move of trying to name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And she's like, look, she does it with a smile and with grace. She goes, he wants to do that. Good luck, America. But Google and all these other entities, we're going to come after you if you disrespect the area around Mexico, which is the Gulf of Mexico. Let America be weird. We here in Mexico are going to protect our turf here. Watch this.
The United States issued a decree about its continental shelf. The photograph where President Trump appears shows the Gulf of America as a part of its continental shelf. Google has no right to rename Mexico's continental shelf. It has no right nor the continental shelf of Cuba. We do not agree with this, and Dr. Juan Ramon de la Fuente sent a new letter that says, in response to your letter dated February 10th, 2025, I inform you that, as I pointed out in my letter on January 29th, the executive order refers exclusively to a delimited portion of the Gulf of Mexico and literally says to take all appropriate measures to rename as the Gulf of America the area of the continental shelf of the United States. That is the decree. But under no circumstances does Mexico accept the renaming of any geographic area that includes part of its national territory and is under its jurisdiction. We will wait for Google's response, and if not, we will proceed in court.
And so while that press conference was taking place with President Sheinbaum, you had European leaders uniting in France, coming up with their plan about how they were going to stand up to Donald Trump or try to work Donald Trump to be able to assist Ukraine and make it clear that the fate of Europe and the fate of Ukraine are inextricably intertwined, and Europe is going nowhere. You had this headline right here.
The nightmare of a Trump-Putin deal leaves Europe in shock. At an emergency meeting in Paris, they're discussing whether they're going to send troops or not send troops into Ukraine. The UK has volunteered its troops, as Kyle Sweetser, a former Reagan Republican, former MAGA, voted for Trump before and then didn't vote Trump. This time he said, look, I spoke to many Reagan Republicans over the past year or so who supported Trump and believed he was just pretending to be an isolationist. They believed that this was 4D chess. They were wrong. As again, what Donald Trump tried to do and is trying to do is today there's a meeting in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, with Marco Rubio, United States Secretary of State, and Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia. They were trying to cut out Europe and Ukraine, but then Europe united for their meeting to try to be a check on what was taking place there and to assert their power. Here's UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Let's play it.
Today's informal meeting of European leaders was a vital first step in responding to that challenge. On defence, it's clear the US is not going to leave NATO. But we Europeans will have to do more. The issue of burden sharing is not new, but it is now pressing. And Europeans will have to step up, both in terms of spending and the capabilities that we provide.
And here's another clip of Keir Starmer from his press conference that he held after that meeting, which was called by French President Emmanuel Macron. Let's play it.
On Ukraine, we're at the very early stage of the process. Europe must play its role. And I'm prepared to consider committing British forces on the ground alongside others if there is a lasting peace agreement. But there must be a US backstop, because a US security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again. So I will go to Washington next week to meet President Trump and to discuss what we see as the key elements of a lasting peace.
So Ilya Pomerenko, an incredible reporter from the Kyiv Independent, writes, I think it's the first case in human history where a nation fighting for its survival, Ukraine, against a major aggressor, Russia, is being forced by a non-combatant partner, the United States, into paying a Versailles-style reparations over military aid that had earlier been provided purposefully at no cost due to the aggressors, Russia's extreme threat to international security. And all of this while the war is still ongoing and far from lost. I'll read you in just a moment what French President Emmanuel Macron had to say, but I gotta share this with you right now. This is from the Invictus Games, which was started by Prince Harry. Hat tip to him for starting this event. And this is in Canada this year. It's in different locations at the different years. This one was in Canada. And here, Prime Minister Trudeau, man, he is running things now like a wartime president. He hit his groove. And just so you know what the Invictus Games are, in case you don't know, it's for wounded service members of the various different countries who compete in these sporting events. So it could be active military or veterans, and they compete in this Invictus Games sporting event from different countries, like an Olympics, but for wounded warriors, for veterans. So when Trudeau is addressing Ukrainians, he's addressing the Ukrainians who are on the front line or are on the front line of the war there. Here, play this clip.
To the Ukrainian competitors who have fought for and are fighting to protect your homeland each and every day. As you fight for your homelands, you are fighting for the democracy, the principles that protect all of us. Thank you. You are an inspiration, and we will be with you every step of the way until victory. Slava Ukraini!
Here he is addressing Team Canada. Play this clip.
Of course, to Team Canada, I know I speak for all 41 million strong Canadians when I say how grateful we are for every single one of you. For your service, for your courage, for your perseverance. You are an inspiration to all Canadians from coast to coast to coast.
And here he is addressing Afghanistan and the remaining forces in Afghanistan who are standing up and who left Afghanistan, are in exile after Trump's deal, where Trump allowed 5,000 Taliban prisoners to be freed, and they conquered Afghanistan. These were the people who were defending Afghanistan from the Taliban. Here, play this clip.
To the Afghan unconquered team, who, along with countless others in this room who fought alongside you, you have never stopped believing in and standing up for a free and democratic Afghanistan. We will never forget your sacrifice. You are an inspiration.
Let's take a look at what French President Emmanuel Macron said about the meeting here that took place in Europe. Yesterday, he said, after bringing together several European leaders, I have just spoken with President Donald Trump and then with President Zelensky. We seek a strong and lasting peace in Ukraine. To achieve this, Russia must end its aggression, and this must be accompanied by a strong, credible security guarantees for the Ukrainians. Otherwise, there is a risk that the ceasefire will end up like the Minsk agreements. We will work on this together with all Europeans, Americans, and Ukrainians. This is key. We are convinced that Europeans must invest better, more, and together in their security and defense, both for today and for the future. To this end, Europeans want to accelerate the implementation of their own agenda for sovereignty, security, and competitiveness. Work will continue based on the European Commission's proposals, both in supporting Ukraine and in developing and investing in our defense. This agenda, defined in the 2022 at the Versailles summit, must simply be carried out. Decisions, actions, coherence quickly. I will continue these discussions in the coming days. It's a very smart move by French President Macron. Do you see what he did there? So he knew that today, on Tuesday, Donald Trump would be having Marco Rubio meet with Sergei Lavrov in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh, and cutting out Europe and Ukraine. So Europe created its meeting right before. It's a brilliant move. I mean, it's masterful. On Monday, brought all the European democracies together and then made it clear to Donald Trump that we're in this together right now. We're united. So don't try to pull some crap that cuts us out. And we're giving you our terms, and our terms require this to be a strong and lasting peace that will occur in Ukraine. We're also getting word of that piece of paper that the Trump administration tried to get Zelensky to sign away all of their rare earth minerals, basically forever. The Telegraph says revealed Trump's confidential plan to put Ukraine in a stranglehold. Panic in Kyiv as U.S. president demands a higher share of GDP from Ukraine than Germany's First World War reparations. And then there is the actual underlying agreement, the agreement that Trump attempted to coerce Zelensky into signing, not only amounted to economic slavery for the country, but contained ridiculous misspellings as well, like the one, like over here, and it talks about like lasting peace, and it spells peace, P-I-E-C-E, not P-A-C-E, and it basically was saying that like over half of the entire country's like GDP and wealth needs to go to the United States, and would then have to go into like a United States development fund. And again, that's the same time that, well, this is a letter editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski says it best. What a coincidence. Trump announces the creation of a U.S. sovereign wealth fund. He says he wants 50% of Ukraine's rare earth minerals. He tried to have Zelensky transfer it into a reconstruction development fund. The head of the Russian Sovereign Wealth Fund is part of the delegation meeting in Saudi Arabia today. Now, Elon Musk, one of Donald Trump's top advisors, is praising Russia's Sergei Lavrov as a great leader as he entered Saudi Arabia. Here it is right here. Elon Musk goes, this is what competent leadership looks like. Again, praising Lavrov arriving in Saudi Arabia. And while all of that's going on, you've got there Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, who notably is not at the meeting with Putin or Putin's people, Lavrov and others. And so you have Keith Kellogg out there basically saying, well, let me tell you what our strategy here is. We're going to try to get Russia to break away from China, Iran, and North Korea. Here, play this clip.
What concessions will Putin have to make?
Well, to me, there's going to have to be things like territorial concessions as well. Okay, some of it is unrealistic to expect where you'd want to go to, but it's territorial. It's subterritorial. It could be the engagement of refusing to use force, renouncement of the use of force into the future from a political side. He's not going to downsize his military forces, hopefully get rid of what we're going to try to do is basically force him into actions. What you want to do is force him to actions maybe he's uncomfortable with. What I mean by that is an example. Right now is what we're going to do is try to break this alliance that he currently has. He's got an alliance around North Korea that wasn't there before. He's got an alliance with Iran that wasn't there before. He's got an alliance with China that wasn't there before, meaning 4 years ago before. But
I mean, it's just so amateurish right there when you look at it. But, world leaders understand Trump's hustle. They understand what he's trying to do. They're standing up, and look, they're playing the game, so they're being firm and they're trying to, say, hey, Donald, you want to be a deal maker, but so appeal to him there. I think they're also just trying to kind of wear him out. And I think one of the hopes here is that Trump just gets so frustrated in the negotiating process with Putin that that's what kind of blows it up. And then time can be bought. That's what I think. But let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.